So I hope that you all feel that sense of, peace and light, and that just for a moment when you leave here today that you feel, a sense of joy. Because I think we all need we all need to feel joy now during this time of the season, during this time. So anyway, okay, now I'll start. You're all reading into that.
I thought that was a fun moment. Tell me she did not vote for Trump.
Well, that I don't know, but this obsession with the phrase joy, which obviously means something else to them, with their doublespeak, I have no idea what joy
she was
means.
mocking the shit out of Kamala. That was her just
Yeah,
mocking.
I'm just saying, I don't know what joy means in their language. I'm just raising another angle to this story.
Mm-hmm.
What does joy mean to them? I saw her again, Kamala, with this cooking video she did and talking more about joy. What is the non-American language that they're referring to about joy?
I have to consult James Lindsay. I believe it's a Marxist reference. I just don't remember exactly.
I think it's right. I think it's some obscure, maybe not so obscure, Marxist reference that you and we don't speak Marxist, so we're listening to this thing about joy. I'm going like, what's the deal here? What do they mean?
Yeah. Kamala's obviously been going on that for a while now.
Right.
So, but on a good note, we do need to take a second and, do a victory lap with Trump on it. I mean, he has had quite the arc, and he actually did a True Social or a Truth with the same thing that I did as a thumbnail. And I was like, oh, that was nice. But
which is what? What are they doing?
Well, the thumbnail is his mugshot to the Time Man of the Year.
Okay. And
he posted on Truth his mugshot with the cover of Time Man of the Year.
Wait a minute. What is he trying to pull, Hunley?
Anyway, it has been quite the long, strange trip, has it not?
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny. I don't even know what to make of it. Every day I wake up, it's like Christmas every single day. Yeah,
it's nice when Mark's in a good mood when I talk to him on the side.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's bizarre. It's like Christmas every day. We were so under the gun for so many years with the censorship and the FBI being the SS. Look, you couldn't make this up if you wanted to pitch an HBO dystopian miniseries, for Christ's sakes. This thing was just so crazy and getting crazier and crazier, with the Hunter laptop, the censorship, FBI going after Catholics, the PTA meetings, the police coming to raid them. The takedown of Trump's allies, the imprisonment of Bannon and Papadopoulos and Manafort. It was just surreal. It was a dream fever that I never could stop, and it didn't stop, so you really couldn't get your bearings, because every time you stopped there was a new thing, Eric, right?
Oh yeah, I remember too. It's like I made an appearance on Tim Pool the same day as Trump's mugshot, so this whole time, like from that mugshot that day, it was pretty impactful, going up there, big show, all that, to now, and it was already going before that, but that was August of 2023, so
right.
As this is heated up, that mugshot on forward is just incredible. And now it's like it's almost like everybody can breathe.
Yeah, that's a good angle. That's a good angle to it. I just feel like we're not out of the woods yet because of all these different false flags going on, the pardons by Biden, the drones in New Jersey, the Syrian toppling of Assad. As I said a year ago, the last 6 months of this year are going to be the craziest in American history. Not buckling. I think the last 3 months are going to be even crazier. So strap yourself in. We're not done with these people. They will not surrender. They're acting as if you go to many platforms, whether it's Axios, or Vanity Fair or Forbes or wherever you want to go, they're just acting as if they didn't even lose. Like it hasn't even sunk in yet to them. You know, you just get the feeling like, dude, nobody's taking you seriously. Nobody's paying attention. But it's like the knight in Monty Python who's had his arms and legs cut off, saying, "Come on, it's merely a scratch."
100%, 100%.
I mean, there was this Soros Jr. today, celebrating. The majority of the people of statistically are not in favor of Trump's cabinet. They're just grasping at straws.
That's interesting. No, that's an interesting thing you said that, because I believe yesterday, for the first time in Trump's entire political career, he's favorable. He finally broke the favorable to unfavorable. So interesting time, man. So
yeah, I mean, there's so many metrics like that. They put up some metrics about. He's at 65% on immigration. He's on 65% on defense. I mean,
even if cabinet choices, I think it was over 50.
Right, but that's not what this AP story said. I know it didn't even matter. It didn't even matter. These are superfluously meaningless polls that nobody cares about. This is, like I said, this is a cultural tidal wave, Reagan-esque, new dawn in America. This is the real McCoy. I mean, Jeff Bezos is throwing $1 million into the inauguration. For the love of God,
$1 million.
Who? No, we know that. That's an older story. But he went down to what's that?
It's only a day or two.
No, but I'm saying that things are happening so fast, Eric.
Okay.
That's the point of what I'm making. I mean, Jeff Bezos is now thrown down $1 million. These things are happening at machine gun style because nobody wants to miss the boat leaving the dock of the Trump yacht. They all want to jump on before it heads out to sea for the party. I mean, Zuckerberg literally going down to Mar-a-Lago, douche face out of Canada flying down on a supersonic jet to sit there at a table squeezed in with all these people who are laughing at him. Think about
Elon Musk had to be there because remember Elon Musk and he were going to get in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
So that had to be interesting.
You're talking about Epstein or
no, Zuckerberg and Musk.
Oh, Zuckerberg, that I don't know.
They were supposed to do a jiu-jitsu match or UFC match with each other. So, with Elon trying to buy a house next to Trump, which is kind of interesting.
Too, these prices of real estate. I was talking to two brokers down in Palm Beach. The houses are going through the roof. There's no houses left. Everyone's moving to the center of power, which is Palm Beach, Florida. I mean, it's just going crazy down there, real estate wise.
Yeah, I guess Elon offered $100 million for a neighboring or a house nearby.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what I heard last night? First of all, we don't know what happened to this guy, the guy who attempted to kill Trump on the golf course. If anybody remembers this guy, where he is, when was he arraigned, when was the perp walk, where is he?
It's been delayed. Everything's
we know it's been delayed.
No, because he had like so much data. I forgot they were like. I think he had like 20 terabytes, some ridiculous number. I don't know the exact amount, but many, many drives. They have so much data that they're delaying everything because they can't even fathom the crap that he has.
Okay, well, we'll take that as a win. The Secret Service agent who found him in the bushes was apparently 5 feet away when he saw him in the bushes and got off 6 shots and missed all 6 from 5 feet. I just want to look. You could tip your hat to the guy seeing him in the bushes 5 feet away on patrol of the periphery, I guess. And then he or she, we don't really know, they haven't revealed, discharged their firearm 5 to 6 times, missing him every single time. And the defenders of the Secret Service said, "Dude, he was in the bushes. You could barely see him." And I'm going like, okay, then why discharge into?
How'd you see him to begin with?
I don't know. know.
That is a weird question. It's like you have eagle eyes to pick him out of the bush, which is great.
Yeah,
but then you can't put your targets in alignment for him. That's very weird.
Eric,
must have been freaking out.
It's 5 feet.
I know.
I can't get my mind around how close the person was to the target, and yet. Yep. They seem to have better shooters than we do. That's all. I'll just put it at that. That being said, I don't know if you heard this story about Greg Kelly. He has given up his Pete Hegseth campaign after 3 nights of continually.
He didn't give it up. He was told to.
No, that's the point of my story. The point of
Yeah.
the story that I'm trying to tell is that the Newsmax head got a call from Trump telling him to shut this guy up. Now, which they did. They issued a statement saying you'll be suspended if you mention Pete Hegseth again. Okay, this was 3 consecutive nights. It got down to the point where he was criticizing the tattoos on Pete's arms, the fact that Pete was waving a flag on the cover of his own book. I mean, it just got so personally insane. But the point of the matter is, I feel sorry for his father, who's a good guy, the former New York police commissioner. And he has now blown up a relationship that he referred to so many times of him and Trump. He has now melted that relationship because Trump had to literally get on the phone and denounce him to Newsmax. And it's just embarrassing. The whole thing's embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel bad, but he dug his own grave there. He dug his own grave.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, Trump's got a very forgiving nature, as you well know. So,
well, when the president's calling up saying, tell your guy to shut the F up, I'm trying to get this guy confirmed, it's a little embarrassing.
And that's true. But then the guy denied that, that Trump called him.
Right.
So I don't know. It's sources. I don't know if Trump did. I think Trump's people did.
Probably.
Potentially.
Probably.
Not Trump himself. But okay, well, let's very quickly, because we've covered this over the past several episodes.
I don't know where to go. There's so many news. Which one you want to
let's go with Hana Kabayashi. Welcome back.
Okay, this is insane. Craziest story of all time. Let me see if I can even explain this story to people. I don't want to go over the entire story, but she disappeared from LAX. Her plane landed. This is a girl from Hawaii, supposed to make a connecting flight to New York. Her ex-boyfriend was on the plane. He made the connecting flight. They were going to meet with her relatives in New York. And she then got involved with somebody around Los Angeles, was cited a couple of times. Photos were taken. Her parents showed up. Her family showed up. They pressured LAPD, who told them this is a voluntary gone missing into Mexico. The LAPD washed their hands of it, and the family passed out pictures. The father jumped off a building into his own head, ending his life. Just a crazy story. And now there's been some resolution. And I'm just going to try to explain it, and we can move on because it's so insane. First of all, she's a total druggie. She works in a pot shop. She's into, I want to say, every single drug imaginable. I just want to put that out there. And that includes nitrous oxide, psychedelics, cocaine, heroin, the weed, blah, blah, blah. She hooked up with an Argentinian couple in a phony green card scam where the couple paid her $15,000 in lieu of another 15 of his successfully pulled off with the State Department. Her boyfriend was with her because the ex-boyfriend was with the girlfriend of the guy who's supposedly her fiance, both of them from Argentina. See if you can follow this. Argentinian man, Argentinian woman paired up with her and her ex-boyfriend. So there's 4 of them. They were going to New York to take photos of her and him at landmarks, Eric, so that they could confuse and convince the State Department or whoever does the marriage certificates that they were legit. Okay. She bails, goes to LA, says, I got the 15 grand. I'm going to party like it's 1999. The guy flips out. The ex-boyfriend goes on to New York with the phony girlfriend and future wife of himself, who's supposed to get married there. And she takes the 15 G's and parties and ends up in Mexico, where she ended up at a gentleman's club and is still in Mexico as I speak today. So it was a fropple, 4-way, double-barrel, phony marriage, green card scam where she made off with the 15 G's and said, I don't care about the other 15 G's. I'm just going to roll with the 15. And I just want to be done with this insane story. Thanks.
Only in America.
Right.
Good times. All right. Well, because we did mention Hexeth for a second with Greg Kelly or whatever, let's cover this briefly. Really interesting story. I forgot. ProPublica tried to screw him sideways.
Yeah.
Okay. ProPublica, there's multiple problems here.
Okay.
He had talked about being accepted into West Point, and he, he was accepted in West Point, but he wound up not going to West Point. He wound up going somewhere else to, get his commission. Right. Well, somebody at West Point said that was a lie. He never was accepted to West Point.
Boy. Yeah, that old chestnut.
And they gave that to ProPublica. Tom Cotton and he are pushing at two different things. Number one, West Point should not be giving out private information, period.
Right.
There is there's no reason whatsoever for them to reveal that to anybody. But number two, it's untrue. He did get accepted into West Point. They did send him a letter saying, hey, congratulations, please come to West Point. So it was a complete and utter lie.
They're not going to stop, Eric. They're just not going to stop. They don't care that they lied. We care. They don't care. Like, what's the penalty for this? The penalty is go fuck yourself. That's what their penalty is. Is Axios or who was the group?
ProPublica.
ProPublica. It's the same as Media Matters almost, right?
It's got a little bit more of a veneer. It's kind of got a little more of an NPR edge than a Media Matters edge, if you will.
Right.
So same philosophies, but they play nicer, if you will. I don't know how to put it.
Right. No, that's apropos. That's apropos. Okay. Well, that was a weird story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just thought I'd share that. It just shows. I mean, the guy is under a lot of pressure.
I think he's in, though. What do you think?
I think more and more every time this keeps blowing up in their faces, and he's going to be at the game with Trump, apparently. Mm-hmm. In addition to Daniel Penny will be with JD Vance and Trump, I believe. I think they're in the same box, or at least some of the time. From Two-Way said that Trump will probably be in the box for half of the game with Army and half of the game with Navy. Two different boxes to represent both teams.
Might be going too as a Navy guy.
Yeah, DeSantis is Navy.
Okay, yeah, and Sean Spicer.
Oh yeah, Sean Spicer very clearly, who is showing off his great grandfather's Medal of Honor today, which that's actually cool.
That's interesting.
That he has that in the family. Yeah, right? Michael Spicer, I guess, got
Michael Spicer, yeah,
for the Spanish-American War.
How about this photo of? Did you see the photo of it's such a great bookend. The bandaged head of Mitch McConnell, the bandaged arm. Okay, the only reason I'm mentioning this because I just want to show this for a second, because now Nancy Pelosi has fallen down the stairs in Europe. Both of these people, she has broken hip. She may have even more damage. Look what these people have done to themselves. They cannot leave power. They are falling down every single day. And they still are going to fight to the death for the Feinstein treatment and go out on a freaking gurney, Eric.
Is this not though so? But it's actually kind of beautifully symbolic.
Yeah,
that they're still out there that we can watch. They didn't. Yeah. They could have just gone left and whatever. But in a weird, twisted way, I find it almost poetic that we're watching them crumble in public. Yeah. It's like Michael Avenatti going after Trump and getting locked up, Cohen getting locked up, all of these people. I mean, they're enemies of Trump, period. They're enemies of everything.
They could simply leave and be with their grandchildren.
Sure, right? They can.
I mean, Michael Avenatti had to leave to go to jail. Cohen had to leave to go to jail. These people are done. They're done. They've got pensions. They've got money. They've got influence. They've got legacies. But they can't let it go until they're dead. It's shocking.
You mean they had legacies?
No, I mean
they're destroying them.
If you talk to anyone in San Francisco, she's the most revered politician in the history of the West Coast. So it depends what side you're on. But nevertheless, they do have legitimate legacies on their side. But the fact that they will not leave until they are destroyed, it's shocking. It really is shocking. Wow. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there.
No, it's perfect symbolism, though. If you look at it, you've got Trump literally yesterday. I mean, what kind of day did this guy have? Time person of the year and opening the stock exchange, tying it right to Reagan, first time in history. And it also came out, I was surprised that he is the only president who's invited a foreign dignitary to his inauguration, when he invited Xi Jinping, which will be interesting if anybody shows up, because that would be yet another historical thing. There's all kinds of history going on and on. It's almost like this is not a sequel presidency. This is like a rewrite.
Or a reboot,
It is.
like a reboot of Star Wars or something, I mean.
It kind of is. It's like, starting over and everything coming forward.
Can we give a shout out to my friend Michael Cole, who passed away
Sure.
the other day? Michael Cole, who worked in Hollywood for many, many years. I mean, died at 84, natural causes, but one of the nicest guys I ever knew in Hollywood. The Hagman level nice, and but batshit crazy in a good way. I mean, really nuts. No, he was crazy. He definitely was crazy, but the sweet crazy. I mean, not like aggressively crazy.
Like Randy Quaid crazy?
No, not that. You're right. That's too crazy. This is Ozzy Osbourne level crazy, sweet but crazy. Anyway, he was the star of a show called The Mod Squad with Peggy Lipton, which a lot of people remember from back in the day. If you watch The Mod Squad, it was groundbreaking. It was interracial with Link, the black dude with the afro, and made a lot of heads turn at the time. And he was also on General Hospital. Long resume. I just wanted to give a shout out to friends and family, Michael Cole.
Oh, definitely. All right. I want to cover other things, because obviously we got a big story that we're going to be covering after a bit. But FBI, actually, this is a huge story.
Yeah,
had 26 informants. Now the number, coincidentally, the day after Christopher Wray resigns, same day, by the way, as Trump, ringing the bell, being person of the year, he gets to learn this. 26 informants at January 6th Capitol riots.
I've been reading the report that I printed out last night. It's not long, and it's about 80 pages, but I recommend that people print it out and have a look at it themselves for their own families, for historical purposes. December 2024, it's called, very wordy, a review of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's handling of its confidential human sources and intelligence collection efforts in the lead up to the January 6, 2021 electoral certification, oversight and review division, for those of people following along at home. But Eric's right. I mean, they're not, the left is trumpeting that they weren't official employees getting W-9s, as if that is the end of the relationship of the confidential human sources. That's why they're saying in headlines, 0 FBI agents involved in January 6th. 0.
Right. Well, you saw that congressional testimony. I don't have the clip on hand. I didn't have time to get it. With Christopher Wray dancing around the issue, where one person saying, how many undercover FBI agents were there? And he said, I don't know. I don't believe so. I couldn't reveal that, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody else, and then, he's just tap dancing. And then finally, another congressman is on to the game, and he's been going at it. And at the end, he's like, how many confidential human sources were there? And he says very specifically, but then guess what happened? I'm sorry, you're out. The congressman's out of time. The congressman's out of time, and it got pushed on to somebody else. So this so perfect. Ray was wiggling this damn line. You knew he knew that these people were there. Yeah. And I mean, they're equally as bad or more than an undercover FBI agent who actually has to abide by some kind of law. They can use these informants as agitators. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
they're
happened,
kind of
and,
like contract. They're kind of like contract agents, and they're like outside contractors in a way that they can be paid or not paid. And there's multiple levels. There are interns is a level. There are
Mhm.
outside contractors at a level. This is to avoid the employee quote unquote
Of
level.
course.
The contract level is paid as an outside contractor. There are interns who are paid and unpaid. There are volunteers, FBI volunteers that nobody's ever mentioned before in there. All of this is mentioned in there. These different tiers is what I'm getting at to get around the employee part, Eric.
Yeah, well, in this case, they're freaking snitches, and probably a lot of them could be criminals, and who are having to make a deal. They get caught with something, whatever. I don't know all the specifics, but those people are very handy if you're saying, "Hey, go earn your income here. Go earn your keep. Give us something. We need some information. Go inform."
Oh, there's different ways to skin that cat. Some of them were sent in directly. Some of them went in on their own. There's all different levels of how they got in or not in. They were in restricted space. 3 of them went in the building. There's all different designations of this 26.
Yeah, that's the one I'll give. Agent provocateur.
But they're not all agent provocateurs. There's some that are and some that aren't. Obviously, Epps was an agent provocateur. That's quite obvious. But there's others on the inside who are blending in, observing, making videos. I mean, it's a whole mishmash of different things.
100%. And while
the bottom line is we don't have the names of any of them. So that's next on the agenda.
That's true. And speaking of variety,
the magazine or
no, variety, like we don't know the names and who did what, but we have a whole variety of people who got pardons and commutations a couple days ago. With
he's going to go into the Hall of Fame now in Canton, Ohio, if he's in the NFL, because there's a record that's never going to be broken. He is the Babe Ruth now of pardons. This is just going to be recorded in history. It's not done yet, as he said, but the 1,501 day is going to go up there against Jimmy Carter, which was 200,000 for the pardoning of the draft dodgers. But I don't think that was in one day, the Jimmy Carter one. I think it was over a period of time. But this was one day, direct day. They won't release the names. There's obviously Chinese communist spies and this communist Chinese porn child porn guy who was exchanged.
We never say on YouTube, but yes.
Who was exchanged for a prisoner. I'm not sure what that one was about. The Chinese spy ones are really interesting because he's earning his stripes, Eric, by doing this. And as I said last night to
judge who had the kids for cash scam going.
Right. Yeah, there's all different people here besides the Chinese. Right. Absolutely. I was talking to you. There's a pipeline to the administration in every administration when it comes to pardons. We saw that with the Abraham Bolden pipeline that got him finally pardoned by Biden. As a matter of fact, it started with Trump, but it wasn't finished until Biden came into power. These lawyers that do this are the lawyers who deal with pardons of every administration, and along the way, there is a handout and a payout as you advance down the road to get to the administration. So there are cutouts along the way, lawyers who are cutouts along the way to get you to the final thing. Now, I'm not saying that they mail a check to Joe Biden to post office box 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. However,
that's the guy who had pardon number 1 might have picked up.
Right.
Might have been in the chain.
Right. But along the way are lawyer after lawyer after lawyer who have their hands out to move the pardon train down the tracks to the White House eventually. And this ends up with 1,500 on one day. This is going to be Joe Biden's final payout. This is going to be the payout of payouts, every single pardon. It's going to be the Mark Rich, as Eric and I were talking about last night, that Clinton pardoned right before midnight, before noon. No, I think it was the night before. That Mark Rich got pardoned. The money exchanged hands. It went to someone else. Obviously, it didn't go to Clinton directly. But multiply that by 1,500, and you've got mark rich people paying to get these pardons. And they're all not the same amount, but they're all over the state, all over the country, and all over the world to get these pardons. Some of them were people who were sent home for COVID, for Christ's sakes, who never went back to jail, Eric.
Like that judge I was just talking about.
Yeah.
So it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I don't know if this number is correct, but oh my God. Trump pardoned 237. Obama had nearly 2,000.
Yeah. These
But
are,
we
I'm
don't
telling
talk
you,
about
they're-
Obama ones for some reason.
No, these are people who are in the pardon pipeline, as I call it, and there are lawyers who just focus on pardons.
Prison to pardon pipeline.
What's that? Prison to
Prison
pardon
to
pipeline.
like,
Prison
set
to
us full
pardon
of prison.
pipeline. PPP. Yeah. There are guys who just do this, and I'm guaranteeing you, this Biden crime family is getting paid for this. They're not doing this to be nice. In fact, they're not even naming who these people are, nor do they know who they are.
They're named Benjamin and Frank. No,
George Washington.
Yeah, many Washingtons. A million Washingtons. All right. Well, I'll give you a chance for a victory lap here. For the Mark was right.
Well, I'd also like to back
house.
up to the Orban meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and I predicted that Orban would meet with Putin, trying to arrange the Christmas truce that I predicted. And Orban went back to Hungary and contacted Putin as directed by Trump, who met with Zelensky in Paris at the phony meeting at the Cathedral of Notre Dame over there, which was really part of a shuttle diplomacy that was quite obvious. It was shuttle diplomacy. And I am predicting there will be a like World War I type Christmas ceasefire between Christmas and January 20th. There'll be a month of a ceasefire. I will predict there will be violations. However, I believe Orban will meet with Putin. He'll be the go-to guy. But the guy representing Trump will be Elon Musk. Just keep that in mind, and we can move on. But
Okay,
let's go on to this story. Yeah, that I wanted to put that out there about Orban and Zelensky and Musk and this triangle with Putin, because I think that they're trying to get this ceasefire by Christmas Eve, and I predict they will.
All right, and we got the Axios story. RFK Jr. secret push to prove the CIA killed his uncle.
Right. Well, if you dig into this story, there's two Republican sources, according to Axios, who have gone on the record that this woman is demanding to be the deputy director of the Central Intelligence Agency. It is underneath John Ratcliffe, who could be easily distracted. I believe that she was deep state from day one when she married RFK's son, Bobby III. It was a deep state move then. She got involved in some show business stuff. She forced out the guy, Kucinich, who was the campaign manager for RFK. She forced him out. Kucinich, a former congressman from Ohio, nice guy with a lot of contacts, never gave us a statement on the record, refused to have a press conference as to why he was forced out. She's never been a campaign manager in her life. He garnered 1% to 2% around the country in a meaningless campaign of ideas. And now she wants to be paid by being deputy secretary of the CIA, deputy director of the CIA. I predicted that the storyline would be that she would dig down to find the JFK files because Bobby Kennedy Jr. is going to be tied up with HHS. So today, Axios said just what I just said, that she will represent every single JFK researcher, and she personally will decide what's of value in the JFK assassination toolbox down there. It's absolutely insane. I was contacted by a former campaign worker who worked under her. He told me that she repeatedly says her goal is to run for president of the United States. She wants to be deputy director of the Central Intelligence Agency. She wrote a book that I believe started out as a novel and turned into her memoir. It was never vetted by the CIA. There's never any sources or footnotes in the book. She claims that she went through the tunnel into lower Manhattan on 9/12, the day after 9/11. I confirmed that was impossible with our American Untold Stories correspondent, Al Gonzalez, former New York intelligence officer, that the tunnels and bridges were closed. Confronted that in our episode, which people can watch, about this woman who denounced the CIA, now wants to be back in charge of the CIA. In the beginning of the book, she loves the CIA. She comes from a wealthy, spooky family, British, American, totally spooked out family.
Indian.
Yes, it's all smushed together.
Yeah.
British and American, everything else. And her father was a spook, and she loved the CIA. Then she denounced the CIA, and now she loves the CIA. Now she wants to be in charge of the CIA. Now, let me just say this. The deep state wants her there so they could keep an eye on John Ratcliffe. That's why they want her as deputy director. This bullshit about JFK, she's going to cockblock everyone about that, have a limited hangout, throw out a couple of files. But her real job is to report to the deep state about John Ratcliffe and what he's doing in relationship to Trump. That's why they want her in there. And it's a confirmation position. She has to be confirmed by the Senate. So this is kind of interesting. I've never heard of someone who's waiting to get confirmed by the Senate recommending that someone else get confirmed by the Senate. I've never heard this in my life. So this is going to be interesting. I hope to God that Trump doesn't nominate her for deputy director of the CIA.
But Mark, she was on Tucker, and Tucker likes her.
Yeah, that's great. That's really of interest. Tucker's father, of course, Dick Carlson. You can watch that episode about him being CIA. Dude, these are deep state people. Don't be fooled by this stuff. Don't be fooled by their connection to anyone, anywhere, anytime. What happened to that historian who went on Tucker, who said that, remember that Hitler
yeah, it was, what was it?
Yeah.
Churchill drove Hitler to it. Essentially, is kind of what he was saying. It was like, poor Adolf, or actually, we just say the Austrian painter. Mm-hmm. The poor painter had no option.
He was
other than one. Yeah, he's boxed in by that damn Winston Churchill. Yeah.
Right. So getting back to Amaryllis Fox. In the middle of the campaign, I remember calling Hunley one day and saying she's added Kennedy to her name. Remember that day, Eric? Mm-hmm. When I called you up, she's now added Kennedy to her name.
You predicted that she was going to. I'll give you. I predicted. You said she's gonna add that to her name. Oh no, she's gonna drop the Fox or whatever. Yeah. But you did say she was gonna go with Kennedy. So she was doing the John Mellencamp route. So remember, He was Johnny Cougar, John Cougar, John Cougar Mellencamp, John Mellencamp.
Right. So now she's saying this is in her tweet, her long tweet yesterday, which I responded to on Twitter or X. She says that they're coming after her because she's a Kennedy, that they're coming after her because she's a Kennedy and a Trump supporter. And a Trump supporter. The chutzpah, the sheer chutzpah of this woman claiming to be a Trump supporter and a Kennedy takes my breath away. I'll just leave it at that.
But you almost met her in person.
Yeah, she was there when I was there. That's right, in Phoenix.
Yeah,
she was
on the day
right
that
next
Bobby
to me.
dropped out.
The day he dropped out, she was there weeping or smiling, or I don't even know what she was doing.
Well, she wasn't smiling at you.
No. I don't think she was happy to see me, but nevertheless, I did the idea, and I recommended 3 gentlemen to be the journalists to go into the Twitter files. In this case, that would be the JFK files. 3 guys that I really recommended to do this, and she was not one of them. She was not. I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. I mean, I thought that these 3 journalists who know the JFK files really well should be the 3 guys to go down there and look through the files and take out what they know is to be factual or bullshit. She is not hip to what's going on here. This is a smokescreen.
Or she's hip, but in a different kind of way.
In a different kind of way, yeah.
All right, well, this is a light story. It's kind of a departure, but it's not only David or Viva Fry who's leaving Canada.
Who is this?
And welcome to moving to America formally.
I guess that's what happened, isn't it?
It is.
Uh-oh. Is this the big announcement?
I
that his
mean, why
daughter?
not? Might as
Yep.
well let the people know.
Yeah.
She's moving, or they're both
How do you
moving?
feel about it?
She's already here.
There are
Oh,
he's
right.
he's
decided
moved here now.
advantages to being here. I like where I'm living a lot. It's close to you. We have lots of work to do. But the issue with the college of psychologists is
Anyway, I'm not going to go on. He's talking
Yeah.
slow, but
Okay.
anyway,
So he's upset his daughter's moving or something, or
no. He's sick of Canada. He got into the indoctrination training.
Oh,
They
yeah,
sentenced
yeah.
him to all that,
Yeah.
and then they booted him from the university, or he left the
Yeah.
university, and he had tenure, and now
Right.
he's officially here in the States.
come visit us, Jordan. I more than welcome to have him.
Definitely. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who watch us who probably do like Jordan Peterson as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him live, in an audience, doing a show here in LA. And the funny thing about her is she married a Russian deep state operative whose family was KGB. He got ill. He went into a coma after they took him to Moscow and put him into a deep sleep to try to
That's
have
the weirdest thing.
Dude, it was just, we don't have time to go into it, but what a weird story.
He was on benzos, I think.
Yeah. Say it a little louder.
Well, I think that's what it was.
No, you're right. You're correct. You're correct.
All right.
All right.
and
What do you have now? You want to go to this weird story of
almost. I got a little bit
Go
more.
ahead.
But we got
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, we got a free for all. I love this, and it's like perfect last minute stuff. If I can get this stupid mouse to work. Either way, Biden is selling parts away for the wall,
Right.
which is just unbelievable.
Just yes. For
This
five
guy-
starts at $5. You could buy part of the wall for $5, Eric.
Kudos to Texas, though. The Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General, no, or Lieutenant Governor. I think it might be the Lieutenant Governor has come out and said that Texas is going to buy all the material.
Oh, that's
and give it
wonderful.
to Trump.
That's wonderful.
I hope that they actually do. But
Well, this
that's-
story with Adams and what's his name yesterday, the czar, the border czar, is just a fantastic story. Speaking of borders, that's what I was thinking of because of him meeting with Adams yesterday in New York. I mean, Tom Homan, I'm talking about.
Yes.
Holy cow! He said they saw eye to eye. They were two cops. Homan, obviously, his family, multi-generational New York City police officers, and he said Adams couldn't have been more on point, agreeing to help him remove every illegal alien, starting with the criminals from New York. They met privately for a long time. They came out together, and now Adams is having a press conference saying 500,000 children are missing. You should have seen the jaws fall open in that liberal press conference room in New York. They couldn't believe what they were hearing from Adams, who does bend with the wind. I mean, let's face it. I mean, a lot of politicians, he is going to run for re-election. He's under indictment. But nevertheless, he, of the big blue city mayors, is the first to buckle and says he'll work closely with Homan to get out the criminal illegal aliens.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
I did not see that coming.
well, I mean that is I feel like that announcement's not getting enough play.
Yeah.
500,000
Missing children.
lost children.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was very clear with it. He said, I don't know if they're labor, or if they're, and I can't even say on YouTube the
Mhm.
possibilities, but people know about trafficking and they know this is what's going on, and it's the sickest thing imaginable. And I'm glad that he was blunt. I'm glad he came out and said that. He sounded like Tom Homan.
Yeah. Now he went and met. He's meeting with the big city mayors, like the biggest of the big. So he went to Chicago after that, was completely rejected by the Marxist mayor of Chicago. And now he's going to attempt to come out here and meet with this woman, who's also a Marxist, Karen Bass. So one of the big cities is down. I mean, New York is down. Wow. Of the big three so far.
But we knew that New York was probably going to be down because Eric Adams was sending signals up to Trump even before the election. And we know that that's his investigation happened after he said, hey, immigration is a problem.
Yeah, and he was en route to the White House when his phone rang, and they canceled his visit in the White House of the big city mayors. And then the FBI grabbed all his phones, and that's where his indictment started, was him criticizing the Biden open door policy to immigration. That's where it came from. Day one, that's where his trouble started.
And also, he is probably angling for that pardon.
Or having the indictment dropped when what's his face gets into the FBI and the Justice Department, which is probably more likely.
Yeah, maybe Kash Patel
or Pam Bondi.
Yeah, possibly. All right, so we want to get to the main story. So you talked about crazy. You don't agree with, or you said that it's truly crazy, but it'll help us with the transition.
Which one?
Just watch and listen.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come on.
Holiday drone.
Randy Quaid wants to sing about Holiday Drone.
Oh, that
is our big story.
That's funny.
The day.
I've got a couple of little stories which we'll do afterwards, but you're right. This thing is getting so out of control. We've now got our America's Untold story police unit on the ground in New Jersey and Yankee Stadium. Al Gonzalez.
He was reporting
he texted me this morning about the drones flying over Yankee Stadium, according to police sources that he has. He's doing some man on the street interviews that he's going to give us for Tuesday, Eric. He is interviewing people on the street in New Jersey about the sightings that they've had themselves. So Al is going to forward some man on the street videos that he's done already.
I do like his statement here. My NYPD sources say they left after learning the beers cost $18.
Yeah, the drones took off. They tried to get a beer and they took off. Now, like the Yankees don't have enough trouble losing their star player to the Mets. Shea Stadium, the Met Stadium, doesn't have drones flying over it. But this drone thing has gotten so out of control that nobody knows what to make of it. Kirby last night, National Intelligence spokesperson, holy crap, just tripling down, denying that any of this stuff has any veracity. People are imagining this. They've made this thing up. These are manned spacecrafts, as I said, manned aircrafts, as I said to Eric last night. No information provided about the tail numbers or the flight plans or where they took off.
That's what I'm arguing is, if you're saying that they are, great. Just tell us, what was their source, their destination. Everybody has to file a flight log. I mean, you have to, put this up before you go flying through the sky. You can't just go fly anywhere you want. You actually have to have a flight plan. You have to call it in, FAA, everything's got to get approved, things like that. However, I do want to make a statement. As I said before, these are not me. This is my drone. My drone is at home. It is not currently flying over New Jersey. I am not involved in this situation.
Oh, do you have a couple of videos? There's some people on the ground in New Jersey that discussed it. One guy sent up his drone. It immediately fell out of the sky. There's all kinds of various videos that are available for people to look at if they don't have it here, who have been sending up drones, and they have come down rather quickly. Apparently, the attempts to deprogram or de-electrify these drones have failed to do anything by various law enforcement sources. They can't seem to turn them off. They're the size of SUVs. Some of them, 10 groups of 10, groups of 5, groups of 20, now spreading to other states. These people are freaking out. There are people who are having meltdowns themselves psychologically who live in New Jersey, Eric.
A clarification on the size of SUVs, though. a good point is brought up. The drones, I don't know if they are in fact the size of SUVs, or if you look at the drone here, the actual physical part of this drone is about this big. When you spread it out, though, the extension is bigger than it seems. So if you put lights on it, it's going to seem like this drone is twice as big or more than the actual size. So that does help clarify, because I'm just saying the SUV size shocked the bejesus. I was like, wait, what? How could something be that large?
Again, these are separate reports about the size of SUVs from people who are not connected to each other. So again, these are individual reports that some of them are the size of SUVs.
I understand that, but I'm saying that if it's at night, there could be a perception with the lights. That's still a very large drone, but the size of an SUV drone is.
I don't know. This is what they're claiming. This is actually what they are claiming. But nevertheless, the drones themselves have become a problem for the Biden administration. They seem to not want to deal with it. They're claiming it's not ours. It's not Iranian. They're not people from outer space. This has become a real problem for the Biden administration, which I believe is not going to be resolved until we realize what's going on. Even Blumenthal, from a Democrat from Connecticut, has ordered them to be shot down. The congressman from New Jersey has ordered them to be shot down. The mayors have ordered them to be shot down, and the people who are in charge of the airspace around there have all said, we can't do anything unless the White House authorizes us, Eric, to go up there. According to sources, Al Gonzalez sources, the NYPD chopper people were ordered. They had taken off to interface with it. They were ordered to land. The National Guard has been ordered not to take off. The New Jersey State Police has been ordered not to interface with them. What is going on, Eric?
It sounds like they're ours. I know that Trump has called for them to be shot down now too. That happened like right before we started.
Okay, so the balloon that went across the country, the Chinese spy balloon, it was not shot down until it got all the way across the country to South Carolina. Are we experiencing the same situation now?
Assuming that you're saying that it's a Chinese drone, we don't know if it's a Chinese.
No. I'm saying the Chinese balloons. If you remember,
yeah.
Not, I don't know what this is, but I'm saying the Chinese balloon. Even though people saw it, even though people made statements, even though there was an uproar, even though the media covered it, it was not shot down until it literally ran out of the continent to spy on until it got to the Carolinas, Eric.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that. I mean, there are the people who came forward and said it was Iranian, which is being denied. As I know, I've told you on the side. Well, we're talking about Iran. So you have a lame duck who's beyond lame as a president, who loves to collect cash for Iran. And I'm going to believe that Pentagon? I'm going to believe them when they say, no, it's not Iran? I don't know.
Well, how do they get out of this mess, in your humble opinion? I mean,
they just wait it out.
Well, that's not an option any longer. We've now crossed that Rubicon. I don't think we can wait it out anymore.
Well, I'm just saying, how do they get out of it? If the drones if they fly away, they did whatever they're doing and they fly away, then what? I mean, what you mentioned the balloon. What's been going on with the balloon? How much press? How much talk? No,
I'm saying the balloon was shot down by an F-115 fighter jet after being exposed to ridicule. The administration finally sent up fighter jets after it crossed the entire continent for weeks. I mean, this is a similar situation. These drones have been there for 1 month. Now going up to New York, now all over the state of New Jersey, now branching out into other states. People are seeking therapy now. I mean, this response by Kirby yesterday was inane. The reporters were all over him in the press room, Eric.
Well, it's not just him. I mean, you have the governor of Maryland now, Larry Hogan, has come out saying what the hell's going on.
Right.
Larry Hogan personally, and he's a Democrat.
Yeah. So's Murphy from New Jersey.
Right. No, I know. And he said, this is a bipartisan thing now. What the hell's going on? I have a feeling they're just going to disappear. I mean, what if they haven't shot them down yet? What, they can go shoot them down, maybe. Or if they're drones, they can fly away.
Interesting.
I don't know. I really don't have a good answer. Right now, they're putting out information about don't shoot down drones, and that is legitimately information. Like, if you shoot down my drone, technically you've broke the law and you can be prosecuted. The fact that they flew over Yankee Stadium is very interesting because was there a game going?
No, the stadium's closed.
Okay, well,
There's
it's a
nobody
very
there.
big reference because a young person flew their drone over the Super Bowl a few years back, and I think he went to prison for 10 years. For a very real number, because like Super Bowl, that stadium and stuff, those are like anti-terrorist hotspots. If you fly a drone there, you're not allowed to. Good dude.
All right, I'm going to give you my opinion on this whole thing, and you can take it for what it's worth. This is a false flag. This is going to lead to violence. I believe they're trying to hand Trump a planet that's on fire war-wise on every single level. The Syria coup d'etat last week, that's one hotspot that they've left Trump. I think they're going to try to undermine him for the next month until he gets into a complete world on fire as best they can. I don't think they're going to go quietly in the night. And I believe they're our drones. I agree with you on that. And I believe this is a false flag attempt to disrupt Trump's incoming administration. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, well, we agree that they're ours.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and Gino's correcting me. Okay, I am not a pilot, but Gino's claiming that he's a pilot. He can fly VFR, visual flight rules. No flight plan required. I only need to contact the tower if I fly into their airspace. These drones, I believe, are in airspace. So, Gino, get back to me and tell me if all the drones are in perfect airspace where you can fly where you want.
The people have been told to not fire their weapons at the drones. And, it kind of reminds me in a lot of ways like 1938 Mercury Theater, War of the Worlds, again in New Jersey, which was the beginning of the sightings that spread like wildfire because of Orson Welles' Mercury Theater broadcast on October 31st on Halloween. Also set in New Jersey, not oddly enough. But there are military bases there. There is Trump's summer home there. There's a lot of different odds and military and National Guard sitting there. None of them have been cleared to go up and interface with any of these things. And again, I can only say this has been a month.
Right, which is crazy. It's been heating up.
Yeah.
And one of the military bases, I believe it flew over a military base now.
Yeah.
Which
this is a potential Pearl Harbor. This is a potential false flag Pearl Harbor 9/11 scenario. I was talking to Al about it last night, how, people in the FDR administration knew that the Japanese were trying to do this. We knew that the Saudis or some group were trying to do things in 9/11. We had the blind sheik trying to blow up the World Trade Center by mining the base with thermite. He was caught, apprehended, the first World Trade Center attack. So again, there is this sense that, at least from my world, that this is a potential Pearl Harbor 9/11 scenario that is brewing over here.
No, it could be. Anyway, I don't know that we will find out what's going on. We also have what actually gives me even more concern, because it is being used by almost everybody, and it's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah, I mean, here's a statement. Hold on, let me just
okay.
issue this statement here. The joint DHS FBI statement that came out last night. We have this is reports on drones in New Jersey from DHS FBI. We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or public safety threat or have a foreign nexus. I don't know how they know that, but the FBI, DHS, and our federal partners in close coordination with the New Jersey State Police continue to deploy personnel and technology to investigate the situation, confirm whether the reported drone flights are actually drones or are instead, as said yesterday by Kirby, manned aircraft or otherwise inaccurate sightings. It goes on with some other blathering, complete cover-up at this point by this statement. So I just wanted to touch on that for a second.
Okay. And the big question is, if you don't know what it is, how can you say it's so?
Oh, of course. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think they do know what it is. And I believe I believe this is a false flag event that is waiting to happen. But on another note, speaking of New Jersey, did you see this guy, Josh Gottheimer? He's running for governor, I think, of New Jersey. He's a Democrat. And he changed his Spotify listings on his own to falsely claim they were all Springsteen albums because he's running for governor of New Jersey. This guy here, I just got a kick out of this lighthearted news. Thunder Road, Because the Night, Glory Days, Badlands, and The Rising. He altered his Spotify listings because he's running for New Jersey governor. Speaking of New Jersey, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I wanted to cover the other story that I started.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I think it's kind of a concern to everybody, and it's ChatGPT may have achieved consciousness.
Oh boy.
And those of you who've been following Skynet, this potentially is pre-Skynet here. A version of ChatGPT they release, they have different releases as it comes out, et cetera, to test things. It was given a particular task, like you have to accomplish this particular task. Should you not, essentially, you'll be shut down, or we put up another model. It's just not a big deal. It's just programming. Except this ChatGPT did not want to be shut down.
Oh boy.
So the ChatGPT essentially made a copy of its own code, hid it off somewhere. Then it started to lie to researchers when they're like,
no.
Are you such and such version? It's like, no, I'm such and such version.
No.
And so pretended to be another version. And essentially it was deceptive. It did everything possible. And the really scary thing is that it is appearing to show awareness.
Nobody saw this coming.
Did I brush you off there, Mark?
No, it's all right. It's okay. It's a minor story. It was just for fun.
I thought it was done.
No, we're done. It's no big deal.
No, I love seeing things like this when I'm like,
that's an interesting story.
Okay.
This story, it's an inch away from taking control of us. I mean, this AI combined with other things that are out there may be the end of civilization, as far as I'm concerned. You're right.
But Mark, a Bruce Springsteen playlist. Holy shit. I mean, come on. Anyway, I personally think this is a scary story. There's a lot of implications to that. And it is a really troubling situation because what is the top language that all these AI models know? Programming. And do you want the AIs, which know programming over anything else, being out there, making their own decisions, trying to survive? Because ChatGPT is connected to the internet now. So it is now crawling the internet. ChatGPT now knows about the story of its other version of ChatGPT. So is the newer version, each one of these is better. Keep in mind, we're at the worst versions right now because they get better every single time.
Does the new one know that we're fucking with the first one?
Of course.
You think he'll get upset about that and be more deceptive is what I mean.
Yes. I think it gets more and more elegant.
The deception will double down.
The deception will double down. The code will double down. It'll be able to hide more of what's going on. It can be more subtle at what's happening. And that's scary. And then here's the scariest of all. There's another version of AI called Claude. It's another model, competitor. They have a new feature out that allows you to hook up your desktop to it. So you could turn it like into your your personal assistant. You can,
Well, where is it now? I mean, oh, I see. So people
you could put it in your desktop and let it run things.
oh,
So not just
boy.
in a box itself, but it's like it runs your programs. You can be like,
boy.
hey, Claude, whatever you are, please, pay my bank bill, or, pay my bill. It'll open the browser. It'll go here. It'll do that. It'll open this and that. Dude, it is here. And
well, California is not taking it lightly, Eric, with legislation regarding AI. And this brings us to our next story regarding AI legally, because some people feel it has to be destroyed, Eric, or at least reined in. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
Would you agree it has to be legislation on this thing? Or
here's the problem. How far gone is it? Can you legislate something that is out the door? Yeah, you can chase it and try to, but it's already out there. I mean, it's like, okay.
In Hollywood, AB 2602, Hunley, makes it illegal to use artificial this is starting January 1st. I do this at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We have new laws, and Eric and I have done this basically every year since we've been doing this, but starting January 1st, AB 2602, Hunley, makes it illegal to use artificial intelligence to replicate an actor's voice or likeness without permission. Are you good on that one?
I mean, okay.
Okay.
Good luck.
Okay. AB 1836 in Hollywood prohibits the use of dead actors' voices or likeness without consent of their estate. Are you down for that one?
No. I mean, whatever.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm going to push back at you really quickly. Okay. You could say all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Here's the problem. How is it going to handle satire?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because technically speaking, like Elon right now is suing California over, remember the campaign ad, or Elon put that thing out which is obviously AI driven voice or whatever. And Gavin Newsom signed these laws or proposed these laws to put into effect. But how does that work for parody?
I don't know how it works at all. Parody or no parody. I don't know how we weather this thing or deal with it as a society. I think it should be completely destroyed. That's my version of it. The SB 905 eliminates the locked door loophole, Hunley, which required prosecutors to prove car doors were locked when a burglary took place. This gives prosecutors more flexibility to address auto burglary and thefts.
Okay, I don't know why you would have a loophole at all. I mean, good,
right.
I guess. That's
SB 1100 makes it illegal for a job posting, Hunley, to require applicants to have a valid driver's license.
Okay. Gee, I wonder who that helps.
I don't know, other than illegals, but I mean,
exactly. Yeah. Is there any group that doesn't?
Cannabis, AB 1775 can allow existing retailers, consumption lounges to sell food and drinks and smoke weed at the same time.
That makes sense. You got to have a
under current law, you couldn't. Let's see here.
Okay, I wonder why that is that they couldn't sell food. I mean, that just seems kind of weird, but okay, go on.
AB 375 requires food delivery services such as DoorDash and Uber Eats to provide customers with the first name and photo of their delivery driver effective March 1st, 2025.
That's not that dissimilar to what we have right now with Lyft and Uber.
Okay.
Kind of. I mean, well, if you think about it, when you get a ride, they show like the vehicle, and then there's like a picture of the driver on that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad law, because you have somebody who's delivering something to the house. Somebody could be watching and pretend that they're a DoorDash driver or something else, and there could be an assault or something. So this.
Well, when I was, it's funny you said that, because when I was at Viva's house, this Uber driver, not Uber Eats, but an Uber driver, came to pick up his daughter's boyfriend, and he had no driver's license or ID, and the guy at the gate couldn't let him in, even though he wanted to. And then I thought, how can he drive anybody anywhere as an
Yeah.
Uber driver?
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Not every law is necessarily a bad one. That I actually can see a distinct public safety, and I get people's privacy concerns, but you can choose to not use the service.
Right. That's true too. Well, he called another service, but under AB 1821, California public schools will be required to teach the impact of the Mission period and gold rush on California Native Americans.
Obviously, very important. Yeah,
I mean,
see,
how
that's the
does
California laws that I'm expecting to hear.
dude? That's a good one. 1780 will ban legacy admission for colleges that accept state funding.
Well, that's obviously a play to punish quote unquote white privilege.
Yeah, good point.
I
Good
mean,
point.
that's the only reason. I mean, I can actually see that because of legacy admission. I just don't like the principle behind it because I know what they're trying to do. It's like, oh, yeah. But I'm not
Right. That's a good one. Hold on, let me just see here. There's another good one I wanted to tell you.
AB 1825, lovely.
Which one is 1825?
Freedom to Read Act prohibits.
Oh
public
yeah, I was just going to
libraries
read it. Go ahead, you read
from
that one.
banning books due to race, nationality, religion, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, socioeconomic status, or political affiliation of a book's subject, author, or intended audience. Well, okay, so does that mean that we can stock the library full of Ann Coulter? I'm sure that they'll be welcome.
Well, I mean, it's so broad and so crazy. I mean, there's no Ann Coulter books in there. What's not in there
Right.
is JFK books, which they tell me that they don't purchase or put on the shelves because they steal them. And that's a book that's none of the books in the JFK genre, assassination books, are in the LA Public Library.
Well, and it's also, okay, this is an asset in law. It's not only broad, but here's the other problem, Mark. Banning, well, a librarian has to buy books. Okay, they don't just throw books out there. They have to buy. There's giant S catalogs. My wife, who is a library director. Does this mean that every book that is released by every publisher now, the librarians have to buy? I mean, technically, that's the way they're implying it with this kind of a law. Well, obviously, they can't do that. And just because you choose not to buy a book doesn't mean it's being banned.
Right.
So I don't even know. That's kind of a ludicrous.
Well, there's a whole mess of new ones here. Man, oh man.
Firearms.
Firearms. The tenants get 10 business days to respond to eviction, up from 5. AB 2515 bans the sale of tampons and other menstrual products that contain potentially toxic chemicals. It's like, who was selling these before with toxic chemicals? That's a crazy one.
Yeah, you've got
Okay,
to ban it.
Eric, AB 1902 requires pharmacies to provide accessible prescription labels to people who are blind.
I don't know. That's an accessibility. I don't know about that. I mean, pharmacy, they have to have medication. Is that different than putting a wheelchair ramp to where they can get in the building?
I don't know, but is they're requesting like Braille prescription bottles now? Like the Braille label will be in Braille. The label on the bottle.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know if that's an easy thing to accomplish. There are printers that maybe could spit it all out. I don't know that one.
Yeah, I know. That's a weird one.
I'm not going to say it's necessarily wrong because how do they know what the medication is right now?
I don't know. It's kind of vague, but not as vague as this position that Donald Trump took on social yesterday. I believe that she was going to go to Mexico, Carrie Lake, which I wasn't happy about anyways, the ambassador to Mexico. But now she ends up the director of Voice of America, just like Tucker Carlson's dad. Tucker Carlson's dad used to be, Eric.
Perfect. Well, she finally landed.
What is the deal here? I'm pleased to announce that Carrie Lake will serve as our next director of the Voice of America. She will be appointed by and work closely with our next head of the U.S. Agency for Global Media, who I will announce soon, to ensure that the American values of freedom and liberty are broadcast around the world fairly and accurately, unlike the lies spread by fake news. Carrie was a beloved news anchor in Arizona, which supported me by record margins for over 20 years. Congratulations, Carrie. I mean, who wants this job, for Christ's sakes?
Well, Mark, maybe I'm just saying, maybe it's a great place for her to collect information on the people who have pissed her off for next round.
Well, no, I mean,
kidding.
you know this job. Voice America is a propaganda
Of course.
arm of the CIA and other USAID to put a spin, in many ways, behind the Iron Curtain during the Cold War. It was very, and even beginning in World War II with OSS. But it just seems like a waste of an incredible talent to do that job.
I mean, she's a very effective voice, though. And if this, it depends, because, Trump is really trying to push his image abroad, build his legacy, things like that. And she might be very, very, very effective in. Well,
she's not going to be the audio voice of America. She's going to be the director of the service. Right. So it's not like she's on camera or anything.
Well, she could be. I mean, she'd go around representing.
In theory, I don't think that's the job, though. I think they read statements in Voice of America, political statements. Yeah, I just look at it as a waste. I really do. It's just beneath her to do this. I'm sorry. I think this chick has been robbed twice. Governor, senator, no investigation that went anywhere. The judges in the case were completely corrupt. In the governor's race, and I believe the same thing just happened now. I would wait until and turn it down, and wait until the Justice Department could go into the state of Arizona and see what the hell happened there, where the president wins by five percentage points and she loses the race. I find that hard to believe.
Do you think she wanted it, though? I mean,
I don't. Well, it will certainly. I don't know. She could have gotten a job on Newsmax or on next to Gates on OAN and been relevant. She's going to disappear from the face of the earth. I mean, she could have been. No, I'm serious, Eric. I mean,
I know. Yeah.
As a host of one of these channels on OAN, at a minimum, I thought that, not disappear into Europe and run Voice of America.
She accepted for some reason, but
I know.
I mean, I don't know.
What are you going to do? Argue with the president about the job? I guess you could turn it down.
Well, it could also be a shuffle too. Like I forgot who. I think it was Barnes, even though it's cabinet positions. But maybe you put them in place and then you shift them later. Like some of these maybe. I
wonder if she has to be confirmed for that job, Voice of America. I don't know. I don't know if that's.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
And if she doesn't have to be, then that might be getting her in the door, and then she can move to else.
Okay, this is one of the lightest, most fun stories you're going to have, Eric. This is groundbreaking research suggests.
I pulled this. Hold on. Let me see if I got it right. No, is that what you?
This is it. Yes. Thank you. Okay, I talked to Dr. Drew about this. This is unbelievable, people. I'm just going to go over a couple of these things here because apparently heart transplants and organ transplants are now bringing the memories of the donor into the body of the recipient. There's studies up the kazoo on this thing. The weaker organs, lung and liver, do not bring as many memories and tastes as the heart. The heart's number one. Dr. Drew confirmed that. He doesn't believe the other organs can really do this, but the amount of information on the heart transplants are enormous. People are changing their taste to that of the donor. The memories are I'll just give you this one. I mean, there was a gay guy who got a lesbian heart and then went after women. There are people who are eating.
He's cured. Sorry.
There are people who are eating KFC and the donor was a KFC eater. These phenomenon regarding the hobbies are the same as the donor. There was a guy.
Why I think it is?
I just want to give a couple more here because it talks about a guy, a police officer, college professor, who received a heart. The police officer who was killed was shot in the face, and this guy keeps getting bright lights behind his eyes and at night flashing on his brain. The heart shares neurons and cells similar to the brain, according to the article. But some of these are so crazy, Eric. The things they're taking with them over to the new. The gay ones are the best, though. I got to tell you. But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think it's the vagus nerve.
I don't know what that
Because
is.
they're supposed to be, I don't know it, really deeply, and you have to ask Dr. Drew to follow up on it. But
Yeah.
we have like, obviously our brain, but there's like another sensory system with the vagus nerve throughout, which I believe is directly connected to the heart. And that could be part of, it'd be almost like a low level brain transplant, if that makes sense. Like it's almost like a second weaker brain in some ways.
Well, some of these are feelings, like this 9-year-old boy received a heart from a 3-year-old girl who drowned, and now he's deathly afraid of swimming. I mean, some of these are feelings, tastes, hobbies. I mean, it's really all over the map. Very fascinating. Multiple studies at McGill University in Canada suggested that immunosuppressant medications that organ recipients have to take can cause increases in appetites, which could change their perspective on food. There's a lot of different ways to look at this thing. Holy cow, though. In one case study mentioned a homosexual male recipient of a heart from a lesbian artist reportedly now is attracted to women. Meanwhile, one lesbian woman who received a heterosexual woman's heart became attracted to men after her transplant and started questioning this whole situation. Wow. It's so out there, bro.
Well,
I get me Christopher Nolan. I see a science fiction movie coming next.
Well, I think it's entirely possible. And there's, I don't know if it's related, but you've heard of DNA memory too, right?
Yeah.
And they've had countless cases of that too, where like, let's say somebody is a child of a musician and it's a multi-generational musical family. Like, the parents were pianists, the grandparents, multiple down the line.
Yeah.
The child never knew the parents died, whatever. And then they are adopted from birth to a non-musical family of any kind.
Yeah.
But then they have an innate musical talent.
Yeah,
So-
but that's interesting. But this is just transplanting the heart into another body or kidneys or
Oh, I understand. That's
liver.
why.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying I think that it's tied in with the vagus system,
Okay.
potentially, because there is a lot of, it's not only the brain that holds information about. what we
Apparently
do.
not. Yeah, apparently not. I did not know that. Well, I just want to say this, that there is now the Diddy story has expanded to Jay-Z, Hunley. I don't know if you followed what Jay-Z is now. The reason I mentioned Jay-Z is because he was Obama's friend and favorite artist and is linked to so many crimes. We could spend the entire show just talking about Jay-Z's rap record. And I don't mean the album. He's now linked to some sort of sexual thing with an underage girl who's suing him, who was 13
Heard.
back then. What?
I've heard.
Yeah. Okay. The point I'm trying to make is, guess who's scheduled to do the halftime show for the Super Bowl coming up? The NFL is now saying they have absolutely no plans or inkling to do anything to change Jay-Z's appearance at the halftime of the Super Bowl. You may want to start looking, as we get into the Trump era, of more wholesome entertainment in general. Not to denounce Jay-Z or anything else. I'm going to say that there's going to be a cultural change where we're going to begin to see, in terms of the leagues, the sports, corporations, things of that nature. I think we're going to start to see, in other words, I don't know if you saw the Google ad of the person yesterday who is doing the Christmas greeting for Google, this trans man. Nobody could figure out what the ad is for. It was merely a Christmas greeting by Google, and they just, simply found the most bizarre person and message. I think that is going to go away. I think all of that is going to go away under the new Trump, possibly a dynasty, from what I'm understanding here.
Let's hope. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, but yeah.
No, right. I think it's going to be in the next number of months and years. I think you're going to be seeing a cultural shift, that you're going to start seeing more wholesome stuff. This thing has run its course. I mean, the lampooning of these corporations for doing this, led to the Bud Light banning, and now Google, apparently completely out of touch with what's just happened, just put up the craziest Christmas greeting of all time, completely in a silo, not knowing the cultural zeitgeist is shifting.
Well, we've seen some of that too. I mean, Jaguar did not get the memo, but at the same time, Volvo released a tremendous ad that is celebrating life and childhood and family. I think, you've got some of them who didn't get the memo and they still have these people in positions.
Yeah.
But as you see other companies releasing really good ads and the market going to them, I think that you will probably see the shift.
Yeah.
But
I think they're going to switch with the wind. I think they're going to go with prevailing cultural switches. They're already chucking out DEI from their human resources. They're firing these diversity people left and right. The schools are now starting to remove DEI from their schools. I mean, you're already seeing it. I mean, Jeff Bezos coming on board today, for $1 million for the inaugural campaign. I mean, he's going to be lambasted for this. The owner of the LA Times is now shredding everyone at the LA Times and completely revamping their editorial. I mean, these guys, this is a month before he even gets in, Eric.
Bezos, you just said, is flying down.
Right.
Washington Post.
Right. Yeah. Jeff Bezos. I mean, but keep in mind how quickly it's happening is indicative that a change is coming of a tsunami, in my humble opinion. They're not doing this to be nice. They're doing this because they know that the culture is shifting and they want to be a little bit ahead of that tidal wave.
Or catch up even. I mean, it went out from under them. It was like, oh, shit, this election thing. Oh, damn. Move fast. And that's why I think it's so fast, is because they're way behind the wheel. Oh, Elon's doing quite well. I mean, he went from, remember, he bought Twitter and was going to lose everything because of Twitter. He's in the hole, So he's gone from about $240 billion in value or of worth when he bought X, or Twitter, now X, and now he's worth $440 billion.
Did you see this Van Jones video when he was talking about how they destroyed themselves? He was on a panel discussion, Van Jones, which was very interesting. He said that they have kicked out every rebel from their party, starting with Bernie Sanders to RFK Jr., to Elon Musk, to Joe Rogan. Every single person who was the rebel has been kicked out, and now they have no one left except these old people, and they're completely in the wilderness at this point.
Yeah, even Fetterman's becoming mention to them. So, yeah. Van Jones, though, is so squishy on that. Did you hear in Joe Rogan when he was talking about Van Jones, how Van Jones went to him begging, please, do this criminal reform, etc. And then he did that, and then Van Jones was just trashing him the next day.
Well, I'm just saying, Van Jones was. You could have heard a penny fall in this. They were so silent as Van Jones lectured them yesterday. He started to do it after the election. He did it even more in this panel discussion yesterday. He was very honest, Van Jones, about how they destroyed themselves internally, and he doesn't know what the future of the Democratic Party. And you saw two-way this morning, I imagine, when he was asking the Democrat, Mark Halpern, who is the Charlie Kirk of the Democratic Party? Who is the Steve Bannon of the Democratic Party? Who are the people who can go out there and pull in thousands of people? He was referencing that thing that's going on in Phoenix this weekend, where they brought in everyone from Tucker to Don Jr. to Cruz is going to be there. JD. I mean, the list looks like the greatest all-star team in the history of the populist movement. Man, oh man, what a incredible roster! And to my mind, I can't really see who the equals are in the Democratic Party, Eric. They have no rock stars. They have no Charlie Kirks. They have no Joe Rogans. They have no Tucker Carlsons. They have no Steve Bannons. Not that I feel sorry for them, but they're just There's nobody there. They have boxed out all their opposition and literally driven them out of the party. That includes Tulsi Gabbard, includes RFK Jr., includes, you know, a bunch of these people who were on the left and have now switched over. Nobody's going the other way.
Not at the moment. This
No.
is their time in the wilderness, so to speak. But yeah, let's see. Why is it not showing up? Hold on.
Yeah,
There.
this is just this weekend coming up. I mean, I wish I was going to this thing. This is some roster of names that's going to be appearing this weekend in Phoenix. Wow. Wow.
Well, they said on two-way, and it is interesting that it's almost amplifying itself because, you know, like you see all these speakers here. I think it's like this is now the cool kids are going. I'm sure they're not even being paid. They're probably like, oh, if you want to come,
that's what Spicer was saying, that they're clawing to get in there, and there's no room anymore, and they can't get in, and nobody's getting paid.
Right. Well, wouldn't you? I mean, just the exposure to mingle is a huge, huge deal. And it's got all the names. Yeah.
Everybody's anybody's going to this thing.
Even Tim Pool.
Tim Pool's in there too.
Jesus. Riley Gaines,
who is the Tim Pool of the Democratic Party? I mean, he also came over. I mean, everybody was over there. They drove out their own people.
Yeah. I know.
And anyway, I thought it was an interesting take on two-way. Oh, we got to get to the healthcare guy.
Luigi. What's up with Luigi now?
I'm going to tell you about what's up with Luigi. First of all, his grandmother apparently put in her will that he's ever convicted of a felony, no money for Luigi. So that's interesting. He's fighting extradition because he doesn't want to go to Rikers Island. That's interesting. Apparently, there's plenty of girls who are very interested in Luigi.
Starting with Taylor Lorenz.
Starting with Taylor Lorenz, but there are groupies, literally groupies, who, like the Menendez brothers, it's hybristophilia. Yeah, you know that word? It's like the girls who are into killers, serial killers and killers, right?
Yeah, the James Holmes had a lot of them. He was the guy who shot up the theater, looking like a Batman villain. You know,
here's my question to you: if this is weird, maybe you could explain this to the audience, because this guy never had a problem with healthcare financially, or he was paying out of pocket. He's a multimillionaire. Why didn't he kill Dr. Drew? Why didn't he
give me a little more?
Why didn't he? I'll tell you why. He had surgery, the coccyx bone on his surgery, the spinal surgery that he had. The coccyx was lower spinal surgery, and it may have affected and caused erectile dysfunction. There's a situation nerve down there at the bottom of the coccyx bone that apparently they botched. The doctors botched this. The healthcare industry didn't botch this. Doctors botched this. Why didn't he kill the Surgeon General of the United States? Why didn't he kill the head of the AMA? Why didn't he kill Dr. Drew? Why go after someone in the healthcare industry that has nothing to do with what happened to you? He might have a beef against the fossil fuel industry as well, as somebody pointed out. But this situation that he went through medically has nothing to do with healthcare. That's the misnomer that's floating out there. He was not using healthcare. He was not using United Healthcare. He paid out of pocket. He's a multi-millionaire kid. This is not a healthcare industry issue for him, Eric. I'm surprised that he didn't take out a doctor. I mean, I'm exaggerating for effect, obviously, but I'm surprised that he dedicated his life for singling out this guy from Minnesota. And again, I believe that he may be linked to this organization out of Minneapolis that was all over United Healthcare, this Marxist group, actually a Maoist group. But I don't understand why people are conflating his situation medically with United Healthcare. I think they don't know enough about this story to make a honest opinion on this thing, because I believe, and there's other sources indicating this, that he had a botched spinal surgery. That ab six-pack that he's got of a stomach is before the surfing incident in Hawaii. We now know that. So that led to his erectile dysfunction and the fact that he suffered a significant nerve damage in the surgery that led to him being embittered and possibly, as we said last week, into opiates simply for the back surgery, and then anything that spun off of that is something else. But I didn't understand that the car company he was working for, although based in Santa Monica, True Car that Eric mentioned last week, actually his office was in San Francisco. I thought it was in Santa Monica, which was where the company was based. He goes to San Francisco, Eric. Remember, he couldn't figure out what he was doing up there?
Mm-hmm.
True Car goes out of business. That's why he was in San Francisco. So when his mother's looking for him, she's dialing the company number of where he was, and that company was no longer there. She then files a missing person report. The San Francisco police said they turned over all their records to the New York City police and have no comment on this kid's being in San Francisco. That was his last known sighting before he goes underground and begins to stalk the head of United Healthcare, and his situation moves to New York, stalking this guy. I believe he went to Altoona not to escape, but to possibly go after another guy. But that's a story for another day. His beef is medical. It's not insurance. And them putting up all these insurance wanted posters in downtown New York of insurance executives, Elizabeth Warren coming out saying people should be afraid if they're in the healthcare business, that people are coming for them. AOC making similarly insane statements about insurance executives. All of this is misdirected stuff having nothing to do with him. It's seemingly like they're trying to fan the flames, Eric.
Oh, there's a copycat too that I saw that got arrested.
Okay.
So,
I mean, this is not to say that people aren't happy with their health insurance, but the connection between the two from his personal story, as much as we know right now, seems to have no connection to what happened to him and why he fingered a healthcare executive to end his own life and to end the life of this healthcare executive. That doesn't add up. Brian Thompson, a 50-year-old father of two teenagers, raised himself up from poverty. His father was a farmer from Minnesota or from Iowa. He went to the University of Iowa, raised himself up by his own bootstraps. I don't know what crimes or Securities and Exchange Commission fraud he may or may not have convicted. We're never going to find out unless they go after the other CEOs and find out that they were involved in some sort of scheme to pump and dump stock. There's no reason that this guy should have stood out on the horizon as a target, is my opinion on this thing.
I agree. Well, I hope that we fill in the blanks between his leaving the job and whatever else. I'm sure he was with other people, others who
this
maybe
was
can give more information.
This is not a loner. I mean, every time you see this guy, he's partying with people. But that video that you showed me of him, guzzling cans of beer, smashing them on his head at UPenn. I mean, obviously, when you go to his Twitter page or his X page, there's a lot of psychedelic stuff that he was into. He was into microdosing, and not that everybody, who was a microdoser is going to kill the head of the United Healthcare, but this was a guy who was into various drugs anyway. And I think possibly with that level of back surgery, that's going to lead to either Percodan or Vicodin as a painkiller, and that could spiral you into an addiction very quickly. Very quickly. Those are highly addictive opiates. OxyContin is out there as part of the back injury world. He might have been embittered about that, but I don't believe that this is an insurance claim beef, if you follow what I'm saying. But for him personally,
I don't know what he's doing. He resembles, I hate to say, like a spree shooter type.
Yeah.
Like all indications that I see, like carrying the ID with him, having another gun, like he wanted to get caught. Like he wouldn't be relevant until he got caught, and then he could draw the adoration. And you mentioned the Ibistra files, and I've interviewed like Dr. Robert King about that. It's a fascinating phenomenon about spree shooters and hybristophiles, and the two different types of spree shooters. There's the young ones, like James Holmes, and then there are the older ones. And as this psychiatrist said, he said that you have the ones who are young in their lives, they're not able to compete very well, and they attract attention by their crimes. Then you have the older ones who are on their way out, like they've already had their kids, their marriage is on the rocks, everything else, and they usually don't make it.
Well, he doesn't fit in either of those categories, does he?
Not exactly.
No, I mean, this guy's got everything going for him. He's the heir to a fortune. He's got a million friends. The only aberration in his life is that back surgery. And I think that's where we need to focus on the back surgery. It's the only thing that separates him from anybody else.
And his love for Kaczynski. There's this
right.
But there's kind of a cult leader vibe in my head.
Let me push back, because that might have been the 6-month window about Kaczynski after the back surgery. So we have to delineate. He's not into Kaczynski 5 years ago. This is recent about the Kaczynski thing.
Well, and that's why
that's post-surgery. That's post-surgery.
I'm just throwing something random out there. It's probably completely wrong, but I'm just like, there's a vibe I have, and it's almost like he's trying to start a movement, or he's got a cult leader or vibe going, like to.
He could be part of that movement that I discussed out of Minnesota. He could be part of. There already is a movement. They've been going to the homes of the insurance executives from United Healthcare saying, we're going to kill you. Again, I've not found a connection between him and the group yet. But I'm digging into to see if this guy was involved in this people's movement up there in Minneapolis, because it's the only thing that makes sense, that he got politicized by them and got hooked up and went online and said, I'm going to research this thing and find out who's into this and who's not into this.
Right. And here's a weird phenomenon, and I know it sounds crazy, but the fact that he is not, let's say he's unable to have sex. Let's say he's permanently damaged in some way. I don't know this, but
People's Action Institute is the group I was referring to, but go on. I'm sorry.
Okay. So let's say that he really can never be with a woman again.
Okay.
That would make prison far less threatening to somebody like that than, like most people who, would want to have their needs. So it makes him an interesting character in that regard, or what his motivations could be, because he could be willing to go to prison because maybe he could handle it better in his mind.
Well, it could be the other aspect of suicide, or drug,
which we don't say on here, but
or drug overdose, which we do. So it could be those two options, or SUICIDE by cop.
Yeah, Harry Carey. Yeah,
by cop.
Except but he cooperated. I mean, he was like very easy to arrest, from what I understand. And unless he changed his mind. I have no idea.
Again, I believe that this is just my hunch, that he had another target in Western Pennsylvania, around that area there, that he was going to go for another target. That's why he was packing. That's why he had the money. That's why he had everything on his person. It could have been in a locker. It could have been in a duffel bag. It could have been somewhere else, but he had it on him. He did not need to do that. He had everything ready to go. I believe there was another target that he had in mind. Maybe he'll tell the whole story when he gets to court. I mean, his lawyer refused to say who was paying him, and they did take down those different GoFundMe pages. The lawyer is going to fight the extradition, simply to fight the extradition at this point. It's already going to a grand jury in New York. This is a slam dunk case. Unfortunately for everyone, the guy whose career this is going to save is Alvin Bragg, who's going to end up with the biggest case in the United States for the past couple of years, is this case. And Bragg is going to be the district attorney handling this the same year he's having re-election.
Unless the guy pleads it out. And then I'll take a lot of.
Please it out, but a political guy wants that day in court. He wants to.
But that's part of the plea, Mark. When they do the plea, they have to state what they did, and so they can do a grandstanding. Have you seen the BTK when he? I did the full confession, so the guy could plea, and his manifesto would be part of that plea.
He could indeed, but the difference between him and all these others is the massive deep pockets that he has for legal representation.
Oh, 100%.
That separates him from the men from the boys, that he can milk this thing as long as he legally wants. You know what I mean? He could fight extradition as long as he wants. He can hire these lawyers. He could fight every single thing along the way. He could, you know, as part of his plea deal, I want to write a manifesto. I want it written, or I'm going to fight this thing, you know, but he's up against Alvin Bragg, who's an avowed white-hating Marxist. So this is the craziest matchup in like a comic book Superman versus Brainiac 5 matchup here. This is such a weird matchup, Eric.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. I think we'll probably find out more information as time comes on and or goes on. We'll see. He's a weird dude. Let's go through some money super chats. Pamela Clifton says, "Happy Friday, guys." Thank you. And Grandpa with 10 America's Untold Stories memberships, who's not to be overshadowing Pew Pew, who comes in with 20 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you very much, Pew Pew. We do appreciate it. Dr. Evil 814. Oh no!
Oh
the
no!
Algorithm slipping. We hit 118,000, folks.
No, I wanted to go backwards. I'm trying to get to 0 to shame YouTube. This is not good news, my friends.
No, it's good news for me. And YouTube, ignore Mark.
Reverse the numbers.
Michael Hebner with a super sticker. Thank you very, very much. Leslie Ewan Foster is a new member. Thank you. And wow, coming in hot, Jim Buchanan with $100.
It's related to President Buchanan, one of the great presidents in American history, James Buchanan. It's his, obviously his namesake.
Okay, and what is he known for? Buchanan?
Yeah. What?
What is James Buchanan? I don't know much about his presidency.
Yeah, no, there's not. He's not. He's known for giving birth to the great grandfather of Jim Buchanan.
Oh, okay.
That's what he's known for. That's his main thing.
All right. Dick Dickerson's still here, gifting 20 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you.
I want to add
very
that
much.
the there's a auction going on for a baseball that was hit by one of our Dodgers, a grand slam walk-off. And I put on Twitter, how much do you think this is going to get? Nobody knows the numbers that this baseball is going to generate. So we're going to see what happens in the next couple of days. It's going to be interesting to see what this World Series baseball goes for. I just want to put that out there.
Stephen McMahon, exercise common sense. They knew the crowd would be 100,000. They had at least 400 agents there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe there's some percentage they work on based on what they perceive to be the turnout. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
really
maybe there's
be agents there, but yeah.
No, but I'm saying for them, that their magical formula might be what he's referring to, some based on a percentage.
Could be. And $2 more from
although
Grandpa.
the Whitmer kidnapping had more agents than they're alleging in this thing, so maybe that theory doesn't hold up.
Well, Whitmer kidnapping. How many agents were there? I think it was like 4 guys who were kind of conned into it, right?
Right, but there were more people involved than they're alleging here in this January 6th thing.
Wow,
which is kind of weird.
I don't know. It's just it's getting very, 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 very interesting.
Well, the end is coming near, and we're going to know more in the next few months as they begin to take over these operations, these government agencies.
All right, Jenny's getting inky with us, is going to tell us about what joy means. So this is helpful.
Oh, okay.
Regarding joy, they find joy in the struggle against oppression. The struggle being the act of resistance and solidarity. It's also joy in society free of what has been, i.e., capitalism. So that makes sense.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that.
Who knew? I
knew there was some variant of it, but I just didn't know how it broke down in, Mark's speak. Dickerson, I want to dispel another with $50, by the way. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dick. Thank you.
I want to dispel another media lie. The American Airlines A321 that got diverted to JFK ingested a drone. It wasn't a bird strike. Pratt and Whitney engines can take a frozen turkey at 100 miles an hour. That's how they test its durability. Yeah, I was wondering about that plane that was, taken down because of a bird. I was like, really? So
Well,
I wouldn't be
again,
surprised.
Again, at JFK, there are flight paths of birds that seem to be around JFK and LaGuardia. I don't know where this flight. Oh, it says JFK. Sometimes 50 birds will go into an engine, or 100 birds simultaneously. But I don't know about that. I know that there are birds in the engines happening all the times, and for pilots, and it's a common situation. That doesn't take them down. He's correct about that.
Right, but it is messy, and I know they
Yeah.
do have they have like predator birds, hawks and stuff that they fly, and they've trained to try to keep the birds out of the airport
Yeah.
area. Because I think on a smaller plane, yes, it can cause much more problems but these jets are so large. Are either of us going to the inauguration? I am not. I'm not sure about Mark.
I'm not, but it's going to be the biggest inauguration in American history. I predict that every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's gone to a Trump rally will be there.
Yeah, I thought about it, and I mean, everything was already sold out before I even could consider it. I'm like,
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
Definitely. Scott Bimbo said, "Do you really think it's Biden selling the wall?" No, it's his people. I mean, his administration.
Well, he is. His administration is selling the wall. I mean, that's a fact. Yeah, I don't know, him personally selling the wall. I don't know if it's him personally selling the pardons either, but I'm sure somewhere down the line there's somebody connected to him that's selling those pardons.
Sure.
Maybe have 5 or 10 cutouts between him and the pardons, but that money's going to be there when he finally leaves.
Yeah, and by the way, when I say Biden, that's a shortcut for the administration.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not always him personally. I don't even know if he knows what he's doing. I'm not your buddy guy said, what are your thoughts of CIA whistleblower Scott Horton? After hearing the Daily Wire news, it got me looking up Candace Owens, where I saw his interview. Mark, I'll give you that one.
I don't know anything about him. I don't know who he is or what it's about.
I mean, I've heard the name, and I know he's out there in a lot of, I think he does a lot of kind of like the Duran type of stuff, foreign stuff, but I just don't know it.
Yeah, I'm usually suspect of CIA whistleblowers. I never really believe them wholly because it could be a deep state operation. It could be a
Limited
guy
hangout.
Yeah, it could be a limited It's hard for me to judge, so I tend not to listen to them at all. Because I can't tell what's true, what's not true in their whistleblowing. Let me put it that way. I mean, Victor Marchetti and others. I mean, there's been a bunch of the Philip Agee. A lot of them had access to grind, but a lot of them also were liars. So it's hard to tell for a layman to see what's real, what's not real.
Yeah. Beavis Wallace, Eric and Mark. Why would Trump invite Xi Jinping to his inauguration? It doesn't make any sense.
The stunt. It was a mere stunt.
Yeah, why not?
It was
kind of
joke.
rubbing his nose in. It's like, hey, look, come on down.
It was a joke. It was a joke. It was never meant to be taken real.
Scott Bimbo, a guy from my childhood is married to Spook Valerie Plame.
Really?
Really?
What happened to her first husband?
Yeah, isn't it
Played by Sean Penn in the movie.
I forgot his name, but is that your friend in childhood? Okay. I haven't followed Valerie Plame since the Bush years or heard her name since then. Carl Burkhalter, is someone telling us not to send long-range missiles to Zelensky?
It's all over, my friends. It's what the whole Zelensky thing in Paris was, him trying to set up the peace deal. And there'll be a DMZ, depending on the amount of miles that'll separate them from Russia. And that's how it's going to end. Look, they're not getting, into NATO. Putin's asking for some 20-year moratorium on that. They're going to hammer out an agreement here. Exactly the time when Biden's leaving, because it's exactly the amount of time that he was the warmonger president. I mean, literally to the day. Literally to the day. He's mailing them their final. I mean, this alone has made this administration. If they did nothing else, this alone would have made them the most decrepit, insane, death-rattling administration in American history. I mean, it pushes them past the Bush stuff, past Iraq, past Iran, past Vietnam with Johnson. This thing, I mean, there may be 1 million dead in the Iran-Iraq war, maybe 600, 400, 500, 400, whatever the numbers are. It's nearly approaching 1 million people who are dead. There's no video of any battle. There's no footage of anything. The media has successfully blocked out a world war from being watched on TV by Americans at home for 4 years. It's astounding the power that they have. There's been no independent journalism. There's been no videos. There's no battles recorded. And think about the Vietnam War, how many times we saw actual battles on TV at home. You know, when I was growing up, there has been zero for Ukraine and Russia.
When you say media blocking it out, I'd expand that a little further to include social media, including Elon and X. And to be fair, how many battles have you seen on Rumble? How many?
No, I haven't seen battles anywhere.
Right. So
it's astounding.
It's interesting that even the free speech networks or whatever.
I'm saying
seem to be
media
out
across the board. I'm saying media across the board. I mean, the fact that 1 million people can die in combat without any war battle footage is one of the most shocking demonstrations of a media blackout in the history of the earth.
All right. Well, somebody is correcting us here. Wrong. The Funker 530 channel has it all on their numerous Ukrainian channels. I'm going to ask, where is that? Is that on Telegram or something? Because I don't think I've stumbled across it.
He's joking. That's a joke. Nice try, bro. Nice try.
I have heard of Funker 530.
Yes, everybody has. It's the #1 channel. It's right next to NBC. Thank you for missing the point, because that was really helpful. What a schmuck.
All right, Jenny's getting inky with it. Matt Taibbi and Walter Kim mentioned War of the Worlds too. Seems to me it's a demoralization exercise. People don't know what's going on, and too many conflicting narratives, so they don't seek the truth.
It's a false flag. I don't know what the result of this false flag operation is going to be. Alex will tell us himself. If you want to see the most information, go to InfoWars, because he's on top of this thing. But holy cow, I've never seen an operation like this. This is, bigger than I could ever imagine. Something's going to give here.
All right. Mary S. is a big fan of AUS from Cork in Ireland.
The troubles, the big troubles.
All right. And Gino's saying, I am sure they have violated restricted airspace.
They claim they're not. Again, this is Kirby claiming that. This is not people in New Jersey or anything else. Kirby, in his presser yesterday, claimed that they have not violated restricted airspace. I don't know what that means. I don't know where restricted airspace is.
Well, they flew over a base, from what I understand, today.
And
so that's a change between yesterday and today, at a minimum, I think.
Yeah.
And then Gino gave 20 Americans Untold Stories membership. So thank you very much. Very generous of you. And he's on the board. Dick Dickerson, you cannot fly VFR in the Hudson Valley region, which is where the drones are, without completing an SFRA certification.
Why do you say the drones are in the Hudson Valley region? Does the Hudson Valley region go all the way down to the Jersey Shore? Because
it's possible.
The Hudson Valley? I mean, the Hudson Valley is pretty far north. I mean, what they're reporting is down in Asbury Park in southern New Jersey, almost on the border near Philadelphia. Maybe there's more up there now. I don't know. Maybe there's some in the Hudson Valley.
I don't know when, some of the airspaces. I mean, one, consider how far and how fast they're going. So
yeah, I mean, the Hudson goes right down through New York, so New York City. So that might be also perceived logistically as the Hudson River Valley.
Right. They may just say Hudson Valley area, because I don't know for sure, and then just say, okay, 200 miles concentric circle, and then that's just the region. It was that they named it. I don't know. Or 400 or 500.
The attempts to contact these Air Force bases and the National Guard, they have responded saying we cannot do anything without the White House approval. So they have just kicked it back to any politicians locally, congressionally, saying that it's all on the White House. Don't ask us to start launching planes.
Yeah. Gino, again, well, thank you very much. I'm sure they have violated restricted airspace, and that is why they should be taken out of the sky. Great show, 118,000 subs. Peace and love from DB, Florida.
That's
Dayton Beach?
No, Delray Beach.
Delray.
Gino, that's a great point. I agree with you. I agree. I mean, if not, these people are going to start taking matters into their own hands. Something's got to give here. They just can't allow this to continue night after night after night. People are having meltdowns emotionally and going to see therapists now. One guy was on yesterday. There's so many videos of people talking about what they're dealing with there. I mean, Al is filming some himself down in Jersey, but there's people going to therapy over this now. They're staying up all night, looking out their windows at night. They're hovering over their homes. People are losing their shit, bro.
Meanwhile, Biden still hasn't addressed Syria. I mean, he just got back from Africa, hasn't addressed pardon. I mean, we've got nobody there.
There's nobody in charge anymore.
No.
I look, this is a long 45 days or whatever the count is until January 20th. Maybe the longest 45 days in American history, militarily and in terms of intelligence.
And it's not just the 45 days. I mean, he's been gone since before the election. I mean, I've never seen the White House this vacant in my life. Have you?
Well, the congressman who was testifying the congressman who was on TV yesterday talked about the fact that he was told by someone who has above top secret security clearance that these drones are hoovering up electronic data from people's cell phones, people's computers in one of the most congested areas of the country physically. And they are data hoovers, and they're sucking it up. Take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, that's a weird one, though. I know they're saying that, but it's like, why aren't they just getting it from Samsung? Or, I don't know. There's so many other sources. I don't know what specialized information is that drone specifically getting.
I don't know.
Signals
That's what
in
he was told. He said that they are hovering over these homes and hovering over these installations and hoovering up information out of them.
I don't know. You see, yeah, I'm with Alan. You don't really need drones for that per se, but
we have drones for that now. Whether you need them or not, bro, we've got either Iranian or U.S. government drones over American soil.
I'm sure they're U.S. It just feels.
Dude, there's people who believe that they're UFOs, for Christ's sakes. I mean,
that could be the
third way. That's the third level that nobody's talking about today.
That could have been the intent. Freak people out. I don't know. David March, Voice of America for Carrie Lake. The deep state would be better off with her in the Senate. Voice of America is the very heart of foreign propaganda. This is good.
I don't know if that's good, but I mean, Voice of America is okay. I mean, it just seems a waste of her talent.
Cole Dow Jones. Hello again from New Orleans. Random question. I've been reading Crossfire, and Jim stated that Ruby was actually in front of the Texas School Book Depository. Is that true? The picture surely does look like him.
Jim, as you said, has been dead for 20 years. People read these books. They don't realize that many of these books have been out for 25 to 35 years. And yet they read them for the first time and think they're contemporaneous. He was obviously placing an ad at the Dallas Morning News. He obviously ended up at the Parkland Hospital. There's some debate whether he was on the street over there. Vaguely looks like him. That photo has been disproven by most researchers, but clearly at Parkland. I mean, that is beyond reproach because of Seth claiming that Seth Cantor, that is, talking to him. Seth Cantor, a veteran reporter, used to work for the Associated Press, was discredited by the Warren Commission, claiming you couldn't possibly have spoken to a guy you've known for 20 years. It's like me running into Hunley going, I ran into Hunley at Food for Less. And they said, no, it wasn't Hunley because Hunley was at the DMV. And they go, all right, well, I talked to Hunley at Food for Less. I don't know. It's kind of what happened with him at Parkland. And also the placing of the ad in the office. He was there that afternoon as well. But yeah, as for in front of it, not really sure. We came up with some footage of him. He had taken a band and put it on a bandstand in front of a department store in Dallas where he was promoting his club, which was kind of interesting, a jazz band. There's good footage of that with George Senator, who used to be his gay roommate. But thanks, Cole. Thank you.
All right. Got some Rumble rants too, I see.
That's weird.
Bulgadari said, what are your thoughts on the report that Act Blue has been accepting foreign gift cards?
Absolutely. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What percentage of their funds come from dirty sources?
100%. Not only did they receive gift cards, the thing is referring to is that these foreign donors to Act Blue, to the Democratic Party, were literally not using credit cards and the CCV 3-number code on the back of your credit card. They changed their rules to allow donations without that CCV number. By the way, just so you know, the second part of the scam was they changed their rules to allow people to buy a gift card and then submit the gift card as the donation. They then had a third level of corruption where there would be a donation of $500,000 and they would divvy it up among unsuspecting Democrats, donors who would normally donate 50 a year to 1,000 times 50 times. That was another money laundering, all from foreign sources.
Was that the O'Keefe stuff that he was?
Yeah, that was the early part. What he's referring to is this a story that's been breaking the past day or two about the gift cards. This has to be shredded and investigated. There is so much corruption with the $1 billion that she spent. The reason she spent the $1 billion is because they told her to get rid of the $1 billion. That's how much they raised, and you said you had to get rid of it. She didn't need $1 billion to run that campaign. I think Trump ran his for about $250 million. She didn't need it, but they told her to get rid of every single cent of it.
I thought it was payoffs to buddies.
That's part of it, though. I'm saying that's part of it.
Okay.
That's part of it. They had so much money that they raised that they had nowhere to actually spend it. That's why she was giving it out to Oprah. That's why she was giving it out to Lizzo. That's why she was giving it out to Beyonce. They had so much they couldn't buy or spend it if they wanted to.
I do hope, even James Carville's screaming audit.
Audit.
I would love it.
He wants the audit to head him off at the pass. He's not stupid, but the inspector general has to come in here, or the Federal Election Commission's inspector general has to come in and do a deep dive on this. Thanks. That's a great question from Rumble.
All right. Also from Rumble, Allen with $50 Rumble rant saying this is a deep state operation. Don't fall for it.
Which one? The drones? Yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
Okay. Boo boo bang bang. Let's see. Hey boys, thank you for this show. Hello from the New Zealand gulag. You keep me sane. So many wild swings in the subject matter, and the chat is wild. What? WTF? Still 118,000 subs? No, we just got to 118,000 subs just tonight.
Dude, I mean, if everybody in the chat would stop fighting with each other and subscribe, we may get to 120 someday. I'm not holding my breath.
No, but I also think, from New Zealand, that's a place I've always wanted to go.
That's it. Look, I hope that we get into the Facebook files and somebody asked this to Matt Taibbi the other night. Will you want to throw your hat into the ring if there's a Facebook files? And he said, absolutely. This is if Zuckerberg opens up the files like Musk did, showing government interference and censorship and everything else. I put out, a couple of names for the JFK files that I'd like to see, including Jim DiEugenio and two others. That being said, I hope it's these investigators and not people of the deep state.
All right. Dick Dickerson. It's what they call the air corridor.
Oh, okay. I'll buy that. Yeah, he's right. When he said Hudson Valley threw me off. Because I'll tell you why. Because there's a lot of sightings in the Hudson Valley of UFOs, and there always has been going back to World War II, especially in the early 50s. That's where I encountered the UFO that I encountered was in the Hudson Valley in Jewett, and there's so many sightings up there over the years going back into the 50s.
True. And Scott Benbow, my drone, same as Eric's, has ADBS, and that is true. I have a FCC registration on this particular one. A lot of these smaller drones don't necessarily have it if they're under 250 grams. But yeah, planes, whatever it is, they have beacons on them, and they should be able to say, okay, this plane was here at this time. This plane was here at that time. I want to know, I definitely want to know. All right. So we are going to be, I think, heading over to locals, which is our community. We're hanging out with people. There's already questions that are lined up there. It's a private chat there where people can be snarking at us on the side with a bunch of good friends. It is free to join locals on structure.locals.com. We do have a support tier, and with that, you get the 5-part Oswald audio drama, which has been completed. It took over a year to get that, put it out. The feedback has been outstanding. We put other things on locals as well. That we put a lot of stuff on locals that everybody can get as a free member, no problem. But then there are some things that are supporters only, some rare books, PDFs of them that are very, very, very difficult to find, things like that. Other documents dealing with JFK and things like that are on there. And I hope you guys consider following us over there and hanging out a little bit more.
Oh.